Hey Braille, I'm having trouble with my ollies, and my foot keeps like slipping off the board. And I'll show you it. First we do this, then we go to the skate spot. Hi, so this is basically my ollies. I don't know what's wrong with them, except am I getting my stance on? Or no, off, except I am comfortable on my board, except I've only started my ollies for 3 days, and I'm not that comfortable with my ollies, except I have been riding for like 2 months now, and I'm getting pretty comfortable, except I don't know, should I like get skate trainers or stay in a crack? Except my back foot keeps slipping off, and I don't know, I just can't help it from slipping off. And can you please give me some tips on that? So this is me riding. I'm pretty comfortable on my board. And like I can dodge cracks, turn, and I have very soft bushing, so I turn very well. And except that might be affecting my ollies, because I can turn so much when I'm like getting on my stance. Except right there was like I'm going through like this path, and it's kind of curvy, so that's why I was turning. And I can like dodge cracks, go on like all types of ground, concrete, and anything except like the obvious wood, dirt, or dirt and stuff. Except I can like skate down driveways and like steep driveways and stuff. Except that's about it.
Alright, well thank you for sending in your video, and we are going to help you learn your ollies. So first off, let's look at this slow motion, and if you look closely, this one you actually do let the board hit the ground, and your back foot is doing the right thing, but your front foot isn't really sliding up the board and making that contact it needs. The second clip, let's check this out. You go up, and if I remember correctly, your back tail does not hit the ground. Oh, actually it does a little bit. And you see how high your ollie got there, and that's because your foot was actually sliding up and making contact with the board. So first off, since this is your first ever skateboard trick, I'm really glad that you have taken the time to go and get really good riding around on your board. That is a super, super important part of learning how to skateboard, is just getting comfortable. So now that you're comfortable with your skateboard and riding around, turning and stuff, once you learn how to ollie, it's going to be really easy to start rolling around and then ollieing up curbs, ollieing down curbs, all that stuff. Second off, I don't think you need to get skater trainers. I think they're a little unnecessary, so just put your board in a crack for now, in a nice good sized crack, and that'll keep the board still enough for you to learn your ollies. So first off, let's look at the foot position. So basically what you can see here is that your back foot is in the middle of the tail, and your front foot is right there below those bolts. And your foot has to be mostly horizontal, but it can be tilted a little bit. So I noticed with a lot of your ollie attempts, you weren't really popping the tail off the board. That was part one. And part two is that when you tried to slide your foot up the board, it didn't really slide. It more kind of just lifted up and went high instead of actually making contact. So there's a few practice steps I want you to do before you start doing your ollies fully. The first one is right here. I want you to practice popping your tail on the board just like that, and then putting your wheels down. Pop it, put your wheels down. Pop it, put your wheels down. And that's going to help you get the idea of popping your tail on the ground every single time. That is the single most important part. Now, the second part I want you to practice is dragging your foot up the board with that little area that Aaron is pointing at right there. And you just have your tail on the ground, have your nose in the air, And then I just want you to practice tilting your foot and sliding up the board. And I want you to practice this until every single time you're making contact without even thinking about it. And this may look actually a lot easier than it is, because when you're standing on the board like that, it is kind of hard to keep your balance. So once you start doing it more and more, you're going to start learning how to keep your balance, where to lean, how your foot moves, and then it's just going to build up a lot of familiarity, and you're going to be able to do these steps previously so well that when you actually start doing the trick, it's not going to be hard at all. The most important thing about the slide is that your front foot, your toes, kind of hook on the nose. You see it slides up to the very tip of the nose, and then if you look a little closely, as soon as it hits the nose, he uses that momentum to push the board forward and go higher. So obviously when you're first learning how to ollie, you're not going to be able to get the board that high, which is completely okay, completely understandable. But basically, step one is pop the board as hard as you can, and it's a timing thing. As soon as you pop, your foot is going to start dragging up the board, and you're making sure you make contact. If your foot is just coming straight up, it's not going to work. Your foot needs to drag. You should see a white line where your shoes are dragging on the grip tape. You should hear a sound. You should hear a little sh every time it drags up the board. And then once you pop and you slide, your back knee is going to bend so the board goes higher, and your front foot is going to push forward and bend kind of like a karate kick motion. And that motion is going to bring the tail higher, the nose going to dip down a little bit so it's boned and higher. And then you're going to get like a really nice stylistic ollie. So I know that is a ton of steps and it is a lot to take in, but I just want to express the importance of learning these practice steps. The pop first, and then the practice the slide up to the nose, the push forward and the follow through, and then you really just have to bend your knees and commit. I'll show you one more slow-mo of Doug Destel's and then we will part ways, but look at this. So you see as soon as he pops, his foot starts sliding up there, it hits the nose, and as soon as it hits the nose, boom, he starts bending that back leg and his front foot pushes forward. And then with that movement, it causes the board to level out, go higher, and then you can extend your legs and land that ollie. So I completely think you got this trick. Props to learning how to ride really well. It's going to make it a lot easier. But yeah, just put your board in a crack and learn how to do it. Practice those practice steps and you got it. Thank you for sending in your SKATEBOARD. I hope this helped, and I will see you next time.
Definitely check out Skateboarding Made Simple. It's available on all these platforms, iBooks, BrailleSkateboarding.com, and Google Play. It's the most comprehensive video we've ever made, and it teaches skateboarding better than anything else out there. You won't be disappointed.